The UN says more than 51 million people have had to leave their homes due to conflict in 2013, the highest number since the World War II era. Why is this, and can anything really be done about it? I talked about this a short time ago with UN High Commissioner for Refugees, Antonio Guterres. Looking at these figures, they seem extraordinary. This jump of 6 million people in the past year alone. It's quite hard to imagine that in one figure. How would you describe the scale of the problem right now?
I think that what we are facing is a situation in which peace is dangerously in deficit in today's world. We are witnessing a multiplication of conflicts. Even since last year, we had South Sudan, Central African Republic, the Ukraine, now Iraq. And this has created a situation in which the number of refugees has reached more than 50 million, which means the highest number since the Second World War. Refugees and internally displaced people. Now, it is obvious that the enormous suffering of the people needs a solution, and that solution is not humanitarian. We can do everything we are able to do to support people, to assist people in cooperation with the humanitarian community, with states. But the solution is political. What we need is the international community to come together, to overcome divisions, contradictions, and to be able to stop this never-ending multiplication of conflicts, and at the same time to address also the protracted situations of the past, like Afghanistan or Somalia or the Democratic Republic of Congo, that have forced people to be in exile for decades and decades.
Have the humanitarian agencies reached the limit of what they're able to do?
I think that we have two kinds of problems. First, as the numbers are growing enormously and the people in need is bigger not only in numbers but in the intensity of their suffering, we face a dramatic lack of financial resources. But also, because of the evolving nature of conflict, we have sometimes problems to have access to populations in need. Sometimes governments do not allow us to go there. Sometimes we have a multiplicity of actors, government forces, ethnic militias, political militias, religious militias, bandits, creating a situation of unpredictability in relation to the security for humanitarian actors that really does not allow them to reach populations in need in an effective way. So lack of resources, capacity constraints, and difficulties of access make many of these 51.2 million displaced people be in a situation where we are not able to support them.
What you're saying is that the Security Council actually is the solution here. If they can move to resolve conflicts, then you might be able to cope with the problem that you're facing right now. The problem you've got, of course, with the Security Council is that everything is blocked because, particularly at the moment, Russia, for example, with the problems in Ukraine, can't agree with the West.
I think that obviously one of the problems is the lack of capacity of the Security Council to come together in relation to some major conflicts. But it's not only the Security Council. It's important to mobilize regional organizations. For instance, in South Sudan, it's the IGAD that has the key for the solution. It's important to have those countries that have a leverage in relation to the parties to a conflict, making them come together to force the parties to the conflict to make peace. I lived the Cold War. There were two superpowers. There were many conflicts and conflicts by proxy. But in the end, there was a capacity to control things. Then I lived, when I was in government, the period of one superpower in the world. Again, power relations were clear and conflicts could be stopped. I remember how it was possible to intervene in Kosovo, in Bosnia, in East Timor. Now power relations became unclear. And so, as I said, things happen and the international community doesn't have the capacity to stop conflicts and put an end to this nonsense of never-ending displacement.